All right, so get this. We're diving into the world of the Hazara people in Pakistan.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible. You've got this vibrant culture
Mm.
and fascinating history,
Mm-hmm.
but they're also up against some really, really tough challenges today.
Right.
So we're using this awesome podcast episode called The Hazara People of Pakistan, a story of resilience and identity
Mm-hmm.
from the show Cultural Tapestries.
Oh.
He's going to help us kind of unpack all of this. And honestly, one of the first things that struck me was just how different the Hazara people look.
Oh, really?
Like you see pictures and it's like, whoa, almond-shaped eyes, those broader faces.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like their history is written right there on their faces.
Yeah, it really is remarkable. And it's a testament to their ancestry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking descendants of Genghis Khan's warriors. Think back to the 13th century.
Wow, Genghis Khan. That's incredible. So, okay, I can see the connection with the features.
Yeah.
But how much of that Mongol influence is still around today? Like beyond just the way they look.
It's everywhere. It's woven into their culture, their music, poetry, even their love for horseback riding.
Oh, wow.
All hark back to that nomadic warrior tradition.
Really?
Yeah. But that heritage, as amazing as it is, has also put them at odds with the main culture in Pakistan.
It's because they're primarily Shia Muslims.
Yeah,
And Pakistan is mostly Sunni. I mean, that's a recipe for tension right there.
you're right. And to get why this divide is so deep, we need to go back a bit.
Okay.
Look at the history of Shia and Sunni Islam.
Hmm.
So they split centuries ago over who should lead after the Prophet Muhammad. And that rift, it's caused conflicts all over the Muslim world.
So it's not just like a difference in how they practice. It's a much bigger historical division with serious consequences.
Exactly. And nowhere is that clearer than in Quetta. It's the capital of Balochistan province in Pakistan, and it has a big Hazara population.
And that's where you see those neighborhoods like Hazara Town and Mariabad that are almost like fortified ghettos. I mean, what led to that level of segregation?
Well, it's tragic. The Hazara have become targets
Oh, wow.
of extremist groups like the Taliban and even local Sunni militants.
Yeah?
We're talking bombings, targeted killings.
It's awful.
It's a constant reality for them.
It's just heartbreaking. Like,
Mhm.
just for practicing their faith, they have to live separated and constantly afraid. But what really stood out to me was that even with all that, they still find a way to make life work. They have businesses, schools, and their traditions are still alive.
It's truly amazing. It really shows their resilience. They're
Right.
not going to let fear control their lives. They
Right.
want to hold on to who they are, educate their kids,
Yeah.
keep their culture going.
Which leads us to the Hazara diaspora, right?
Yeah.
The people who had to leave Pakistan, they're in places like Australia, the U.S., Canada. They didn't just leave everything behind, though, did they?
No, not at all. The diaspora has been incredible
Really?
at keeping their culture alive and fighting for the people back home.
That's amazing.
Yeah. For example, the Australian Hazara community, they're thriving. They contribute to Australian society, but they're also raising awareness about what's happening in Pakistan and Afghanistan.
Wow. They're rebuilding their lives, but also like carrying the torch for their culture and pushing for change from far away.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of holding on to their identity, the podcast mentioned some really cool traditions.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Have you ever heard of Biskoshi?
Who's Kashi, no?
It's this crazy horseback sport.
Really?
Yeah, like you got to see it to believe it.
Okay.
So imagine a ton of horsemen all fighting over a goat carcass.
A what?
A goat carcass, and they're trying to get it across a goal line.
Wow, that's intense.
It's a wild spectacle,
Yeah.
but it goes deeper than just a game. It's like a symbol of Hazara culture.
Oh, really?
Their strength, their horsemanship, their strategic thinking, all coming from that nomadic life
Mm-hmm.
and all the struggles they faced.
So it's not just a game, it's part of their heritage.
Exactly,
Yeah.
passed down through generations.
I can see why it means so much to them.
Yeah. And amidst all this, something else that really impressed me was their dedication to education.
Yes, education is huge E for the Hazara. It's their way to empower themselves, a way to break free from poverty and all the stuff they've been through. Even when things are really tough, Hazara families make their children's education a top priority.
It's pretty inspiring to see that commitment to learning, especially with everything going on.
What's really interesting is it's not just about getting ahead.
Okay.
It's tied to their identity and their hopes for the future. They see knowledge as a weapon against oppression and a way to create a better future for their community.
So it's not just about a good job, it's about taking control of their own story.
Exactly.
And speaking of taking control, the podcast also brought up No Rose.
No, Rose.
the Hazara New Year.
Oh, right, great.
Beautiful celebration with all the colors and food and traditional dances.
Uh-huh.
But it's even more significant for the Hazara.
What do you mean?
Well, imagine living under constant threat, always having to rebuild your life. Nowruz, for them, it represents renewal,
Mm-hmm.
hope,
Yeah,
and that unbreakable spirit.
that makes sense.
It reminds them that even when things are dark, life goes on,
Right.
and there's always something to celebrate.
It's like a collective sigh of relief, a moment to really appreciate their culture and how strong their community is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Given their history, it's really moving. But let's be real. What does the future hold for the Hazara in Pakistan?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The podcast doesn't sugarcoat it. Things are tough.
Yeah.
Real change would need a major shift in Pakistan's politics and society.
Like what?
More security for the Hazara, better economic opportunities, real political representation.
That's a tall order.
It is. But there are signs of hope.
Oh, yeah.
The podcast mentions some grassroots movements, and a few Pakistani leaders are starting to pay attention. It's a start, at least.
It is. And what's even more inspiring is the Hazara themselves. They're not waiting around for someone to save them. They're organizing,
Right.
speaking out, demanding justice,
Yeah.
working to create a better future for their own community. They're not just victims. They're the ones making change happen.
That's a great way to put it.
But this brings up a really important question. What can we do? How can we as outsiders actually help the Hazara people?
Well, that's a question we'll definitely dig into more.
Okay.
But first, I think we need to really grasp the challenges they face.
Okay.
The podcast talked about a specific event, the Maston bus attack.
Oh, yeah.
That really shows how vulnerable the Hazara community is. It's a stark reminder, isn't it, about the dangers they face every single day.
Can you walk us through it? What exactly happened during the attack?
So picture this 2018, a bus full of Hazara pilgrims. They're coming back from a religious trip to Iran,
Mm-hmm.
and they're targeted in this horrific suicide bombing.
Just for practicing their faith.
It was meticulously planned. ISIS claimed responsibility. Dozens of innocent people killed, many more injured.
That's just awful. This wasn't a one-off thing, was it?
No, unfortunately not. The Mastung attack is just one of countless acts of violence that the Hazara have endured. It really highlights their vulnerability and why they need better protection.
What happened afterwards? Did anything change?
There was outrage, of course,
Yeah.
both within Pakistan and globally, protests demanding justice for the victims and more security for the Hazara community.
But did it lead to any real action?
Well, promises were made.
Right.
Increased security crackdowns on militant groups. But the reality is the Hazara still live with constant threats.
So the cycle just continues. It's easy to feel helpless, you know, both for them and for us watching from a distance. What keeps them going? How do they find hope in all of this?
It's incredible, isn't it? I think it comes down to their strong cultural identity, their faith, and their belief in education.
Like they draw strengths from their shared heritage,
Yeah,
their resilience and their vision for a better future.
exactly. And they're not just passively accepting it. They're actively fighting for change. We talked about the diaspora. But there are Hazara activists and leaders within Pakistan, too,
Okay.
working tirelessly, raising awareness, advocating for their rights, demanding justice.
True agents of change. So we've covered the history, the challenges, the resilience, but what can be done to actually help? How can we make a real difference?
It starts with awareness. The more people understand the Hazara story, the more likely they are to empathize with them and want to help.
Right.
We can share their stories, educate others, and amplify their voices.
So using our platforms to spread awareness. What else?
There are organizations working directly in Pakistan, providing aid, supporting education, advocating for their rights.
Yeah.
We can support them through donations, volunteering.
So putting our money where our mouth is. What about on a personal level?
Yeah, for sure. We can learn about Hazara culture history challenges,
Right.
have conversations about their situation, challenge prejudice whenever we see it.
Knowledge is power.
Right.
Exactly. And sharing that knowledge is key. What about politically? Can we contact our leaders, urge them to prioritize human rights in Pakistan, hold the government accountable for protecting the Hazara?
Absolutely. Governments have a responsibility to protect everyone, regardless of their religion. By advocating for policy changes and holding our leaders accountable, we can help create a more just world for the Hazara people.
So awareness, support for organizations on the ground, and political action. Those are concrete steps. But it feels like there's a deeper shift needed in how people see things, both in Pakistan and globally.
I agree. We need to move past seeing them just as victims
Right.
and recognize their full humanity, their rich culture, their contributions to the world.
And that's what we've been trying to do here, right?
Yeah.
Understanding the Hazara people fully, their past, their present, their hopes.
Exactly. And hopefully by understanding their story, we can all be part of the solution, be part of creating a world where they can live in peace and dignity.
A goal worth fighting for. One of the most powerful takeaways for me is that even with all they've suffered, the Hazara haven't given up hope.
Yeah.
They're fighting for a better future for themselves and for future generations.
It's amazing, isn't it? The human spirit's capacity for resilience, for hope, for that belief that things can get better.
And it's a reminder that even when things seem impossible, change is possible. But it takes action commitment. It takes all of us doing our part.
Well said. So, if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. The Hazara people are not just a statistic or a headline. They're a vibrant community with a rich history and a story that needs to be heard. And their fight for justice, their fight for dignity, their fight for a better future, it's a fight we can all join.
A fight worth fighting. As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about. Remember Kashi.
The horseman and the goat.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a powerful symbol of their heritage,
Right.
but it also has a deeper meaning. Think about it.
Yeah.
In Kashi, there's chaos struggle, but there's also a goal, a purpose.
It's a beautiful metaphor for their journey. Despite all the chaos and hardship they face, they never lose sight of what they're striving for. Their goals, their values, their dream of a better future.
And that message goes beyond the mountains of Afghanistan where Kashi started. It's a message of resilience, of hope, of the human spirit's power to overcome anything.
And it reminds us that we can all play a part in creating a world where that resilience isn't needed anymore. A world where the Hazara people and all communities facing persecution can finally live in peace and security.
So as you go about your day, remember the Hazara people, remember their story, their strength, their fight for a brighter tomorrow, and ask yourself, what can I do to help make that happen?
Every action, no matter how small, makes a difference. Choose hope, choose action, and let's work together to build a world worthy of their incredible resilience.
You know, it's easy to focus on just the hard parts of their story.
Yeah.
But I'm so blown away by how determined they are. Not just to survive, but to actually thrive.
It's incredible, right? They're looking ahead, getting educated, building new lives, but never forgetting where they came from.
Like they're making sure their culture and story don't get lost.
Right. And they're not just preserving the past. They're actively shaping their future.
Exactly. This isn't just history. It's a call to action.
Absolutely. To stand with the Hazara people, to speak up for them, to work for a world where they can finally have peace and security.
A world where their kids can have a future without fear, without discrimination.
Yeah. And even though that future might seem far off right now, the Hazara people, they show us that hope is a powerful thing.
And hope plus action can really change things. So to everyone listening, think about the Hazara people, their story, their strength, their fight for a better future. Ask yourself, what can I do, even a small thing, to be a part of that?
Because even small actions can make a big difference. Learn about them, spread the word, support organizations, working to help them, talk to your elected officials. Everything counts.
It all adds up. And at the end of the day, this isn't just about the Hazara people. It's about all of us creating a world where everyone, no matter their background or beliefs, can live with dignity and respect.
A world where we celebrate our differences, not fear them. Where every culture can thrive and add its own beauty to humanity.
This deep dive has been an amazing journey. We got a glimpse into this culture and this struggle. It's heartbreaking, but also so inspiring. We hope it leaves you feeling more empathy, wanting to learn more, and ready to make a difference.
Because even in the darkest times, there's always hope. And as the Hazara people have shown us, hope combined with action can make a brighter future for everyone.